second board now goes up. There you can see the pole position car, number 88, Richard Webb, who's swept all before him this season. The revs rise and the race gets underway, but not for number 2, I'm afraid. That is Michael Roots, who does not get away at all. It looks like they've all thankfully managed to avoid him. He does now move away, but that was a worrying moment for Michael Roots. But he is away now. That's Colin Chapman in the 63 car. But what's going on up front? Well, it's Ryan Yarrow, the reigning champion, in car number 1 that's leading the way. But for how long? It's only taken until Spitfires for number 82, Richard Webb, to make his way through into the lead. And he has won all 4 races so far this season. And it must be said, by a very convincing margin. Is he going to continue to do that? I can see that the car that starts at the back, David Watson's car, that's also made up several places already during the course of this weekend, but that's not part of the championship. Here we can see Ryan Yarrow under pressure from Paul Smith down at the hairpin.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to get through, so good little move there from Paul Smith in the Mattel SSRD. Still neck and neck though, leaving and heading towards the quick right-hander at Carter's Curve. One is going to have to give way to the other, as now heading towards Honda at the end of the lap. Ryan Yarrow's going to be picked off by Paul Smith as well. And yeah, that place is confirmed as they come out of the final corner and whip across the line. It's been a cracking opening lap though for Richard Webb in his Spire.
And look at the spray that these cars kick out as well. You'll see that better on some of the shots, but not a bad first lap that from Paul Smith. He started 4th up to 2nd. He's got a fresh engine in that car for this weekend. The 4-time Formula V champion, of course, Paul Smith. Been racing on and off in Sports 1000 for the past couple of seasons in this Mattel that's been developed by him and his, in particular his father as well, over the course of recent seasons. There's the reigning champion, number 1, Ryan Yarrow, another driver who's developed his car, which is an ex-Billy Oldbone driven chassis, and hence that's now got the Y designation at the end of its name to indicate the development work that he has done.
Exiting the first corner, or rather the Brooklands corner, I should say. Oh, very, very much straight on there and into the tyres for Jonathan McGill in his Spire GT3. So easy to get it wrong there at Brooklands. You approach at high speed, and if he's caught a bit of standing water, that's just sent him straight on and into the tyre wall. Certainly yellow flags, and possibly something more serious to come, Ian.
Yep. New fastest lap, 106.12. Lap record for these cars in the drive course, 58.97 for Matthew Higginson 9 years ago. He was a multiple Sports 1000 champion, or RGB as it was known then as well. But 2 laps completed, and Richard Webb 1.7 seconds the advantage. Paul Smith nearly mapped his lap time on the previous lap. That car from the back that we told you about, 85 David Watson, that's the MK Indy, that's already up to 6th position. So it's absolutely flying. He's been lapping in the 109s, so about 3 seconds slower than the forefront cars, but in a similar pace to the cars immediately ahead of him. There it is now, the MK Indy.
Yeah, did a 109.860 in qualifying, but then was automatically put to the back of the grid because it's in the invitation class. We always expected it to come through. It doesn't lap quite as quickly as the Richard Webb or the Ryan Yarrow car, but these changeable conditions could change that.
Well, look at this as well for the lead now, because Richard Webb has had some time taken out of his lead. Now it's down to 6/10 per second because Paul Smith has done the best lap of the race, a 105.83, and we've not seen Richard Webb under this kind of threat so far this season. Richard Webb in the Spire GT3S. He's the director of RLM, the championship sponsors as well. He's in lots of different types of things as well as Sports 1000 down the years, including he took part in that race last year, I think it was, in which we had the sons of Hunt and Lauder racing in the same race. Meanwhile, we've got a safety car here at Pembrey, Johnny, and that I think is because of the Jonathan McGill car that is off up there at Brooklands.
I think it has to be, yeah, for the Doncaster driver in the Spire GT3, nosed into the barriers, and because these cars are very svelte, they have a low-slung front splitter, there's a danger that car could have gone underneath the tyres, so they need to make sure that Jonathan's okay and that the car can be recovered. Still racing to the safety car though. Richard Webb and Paul Smith will see the boards as they come out of Honda and just about slow down, yes, although at different speeds, Ian.
Now Richard Webb's weaving around trying to keep some heat in the tyres. I'm not quite sure how advisable that was at that particular point in time. But anyway, he's doing it, and he's obviously heading the field as they are behind the safety car. It's a caution period. It's a 15-minute race, of course. These laps behind the safety car will count. There's no provision for laps to be added on at the end of the race. Unlike, say, the British Touring Car Championship, where up to 3 laps can be added on at the end. So these will all count behind the safety car. It's just going to be a question of how quickly that Jonathan McGill car can be recovered from its resting place in the tyre barriers up there at Brooklands, where it ended on the second lap of the race. I think we might have lost Carl Austin as well in the number 44 car. Oh no, he's just come through actually to complete his. He's a lap down, it seems to me. So he came into the pits, I think. So that's what's happened with Carl Austin. So he's out there, but he had a pit visit. That's what I was just wondering what had gone on. But the other 12 drivers have all completed the full 4 laps so far.
Yeah, so Carl isn't going to make that lap back up again, unfortunately for him, and the safety car actually won't help, but there'll be no waved by cars. We'll just run with this position. Richard Webb and Paul Smith, they were pretty much as close as they are behind the safety car anyway, so that's not altered the leading margin. What it does do is bring Ryan Yarrow potentially back into the mix, and also Dan Klaus in his Mittel, the second Mittel in the sequence.
So I think Carl Austin's back into the pit lane as well.
Okay.
So certainly not going to make that lap up, not in the pit lane. So yellow flags are waving. Safety car is out. And there is Carl Austin. I think he just wanted to keep dry, basically, appears to be a situation. Looks like Thomas Langford down there, the race day coordinator for the 750 Motor Club Sports 1000s is there. There is Jonathan McGill's car being towed at a jaunty angle behind the recovery vehicle. I'm not quite. I think there is runoff area at Brooklands, isn't there, on the old runway, perimeter road, or whatever part of the airfield it was. So hopefully that's now in a position of safety, and probably have one more lap there forward. I think behind the safety car. And you can see they're all weaving around now. I don't know how effective this really is in these conditions.
No, I think it's more of a case of kind of mentally you think I'm ready and poised to get going again, but all you're doing is dropping the tyre into cold water on the left and right hand side of the track, and wet weather tyres tend to be of the harder compound, slightly more durable, so more difficult to work as well. And you've always got to be careful as you're slowing down for a safety car. That you made the point not to start the weaving too early, because there could easily be a car that is, although you're not supposed to, overlapping you and slowing down accordingly. Thankfully, that recovery didn't turn into what we had at the Nürburgring for the 24 hours a couple of weeks ago, which was actually a BMW being recovered, thinking he was going a lot further than he was backwards, didn't put on the brakes, and actually ran into the 4x4 that was recovering.
Oh.
So there was contact between the intervention vehicle and the race car. Right. Not advisable.
Not good.
For McGill, yes, he was testing the very tension of that towing strop, but no contact made.
Good. That's what we like. So we're going to have David Watson. Interesting to see how that car does. That MK Indy, it's got 1.3 litres. All the Sports 1000 cars have, you've guessed it, a 1000cc superbike engine to aspirate them. What I've not had to talk about actually is what's going on in the championship here. I've said that Richard Webb had won all 4 races so far, so you probably don't need a maths degree to work out that he's in the lead of the championship by quite considerable margin. Ryan Yarrow second on 95 points coming into this weekend. Colin Chapman third on 87. Paul Rogers 84. So 2 long-time racers in Sports 1000 and RGB there. And Paul Smith, 5th on 82 points coming into this weekend. I think we are about to... No, we're not about to go racing again. I'll sit down again then, because the safety car lights are still on at the moment. So at least one more lap behind the safety car, which is probably only going to leave time for about 4 or 5 laps, I would think. Once we are able to get back underway. I'm
impressed on our scoring tower that we're getting lap times for the safety car as well, though. Down in 15th position, even though it technically leads the race.
Yes.
Be interesting to monitor that for the rest of the safety car period. As you say, hopefully it's not going to be for too much longer. 9 minutes and change that we've just had. So we will hopefully get the full quota of 15 minutes. But this is frustrating because, I mean, these are very fast cars. And obviously everyone associated with the championship has turned up wanting to get as many racing laps in as possible. stronger chance tomorrow, we hope.
I would think so. I mean, they are, in dry conditions, very fast cars. I mean, these are giving equivalent performance really to British Touring Car Championship cars, something like that in terms of their lap times, but for an absolute tiny fraction of the cost of doing something like BTCC or sort of some GT cars, which will be lapping in a similar kind of lap time as well. So it's tremendous bang for your buck, Sports 1000. But there are some very sophisticated cars out there now, the Spires and the Mattels, which dominate on this grid. Some very rapid machinery, and this is a championship that really has evolved from its roots over the years. As a road-going bike engine sports car championship it was originally. Safety car lights are out, and Richard Webb is wasting no time in getting his race back underway. Already up to speed through Honda, takes the green flag now with just over 5 minutes of the race left to go. Can Paul Smith go with him as he was doing before the safety car came out?
Phenomenal speed again through Honda, helped of course that these cars are so aero dependent with that invisible hand pushing the cars down onto the road. They were side by side into Hatchets and now towards Spitfires, but still Richard Webb with the lead.
I wonder if Richard Webb might need to be careful with that line through the hairpin though, because he was certainly using some of the green painted bit on the inside, and if he does that too often, maybe that's something that the officials will want to have a look at. We'll see about that. So Richard Webb, number 88, is that leads. Number 14, Paul Smith in second place. So you've got the Spire leading, the Mattel in second place, and there is a gap back actually, and it's opened up quite quickly, hasn't it, to third place, which we think is still Ryan Yarrow, but we'll try and confirm that in a moment.
Interesting braking from Paul Smith there. He had to have two applications into Brooklands hairpin, one to sufficiently slow the car, and then I think a little dab to balance it on the approach into that tricky right-hander, which is wanting you really to go left at Brooklands. It's slightly off camber, and as Jonathan McGill demonstrated a little earlier on, it's so easy to make a mistake on the approach. Across the line at top speed is Dan Clues, and Colin Chapman not very far away either. Lead us back to the first corner.
Absolutely right. There's David Watson in the number 85 car, the invitation class car, so it's not counting for points. So the next car behind him actually is Michael Roots, who had that disastrous start, stalled on the grid and couldn't get away, but he's fought back to 7th place now, as you'd expect, as one of the quicker drivers in the championship. Michael Roots had a couple of second place finishes already this season, but here's Paul Smith, 5th in the championship, 1 second, 1 4th, 1 6th so far this season for him, only finishing in even numbered positions so far this year. He'd be very keen to finish in an odd numbered position today, and I don't mean third.
Richard Webb obviously so comfortable with, on occasion, his car being sideways. He was on the exit of Brooklands there. There's a lot of standing water gathering in amongst the curbs, as another place is gained there by Michael Roots as after that car stalled on the grid. So that was that possibly Paul Rogers that he managed to squeeze by, and up to 7th position.
So just under 3 minutes of this race left to go then. Richard Webb is leading by 1.49 seconds now. There he is, Paul Smith, number 14, in second spot. And then it should be Ryan Yarrow in third, the double champion from the last 2 years, Ryan Yarrow. And then fourth, Dan Clues, the driver that switched over from F1000. He's still racing in F1000 as well. But watching here, Richard Webb looking to make it 5 wins out of 5 at the start of this season, as we will go past the halfway mark of the season this weekend as well. Rounds 5, 6 and 7 out of 12, I think it is, this season will be taking place this weekend.
It was actually David Watson, this car, that lost a bit of ground to Michael Roots. So the MK Indy running in the invitational class. Blistering qualifying pace, a 109.8 produced by David's car, but he had to start from the back of the grid and is now right in the middle in 7th position. There's Michael Roots in the number 2, and behind him now will be the 43 car of Paul Rogers, another Spire GT3S this time.
Rich Miles, I thought he might make a bit more progress up from 9th, but of course this is his first sort of competitive session he's had in the car. He was up to 9th place from the back of the grid, didn't get the car finished in time ready for qualifying, so really he's still shaking it down in this race. I was watching number 2 then, Michael Roots is ahead of Colin Chapman now, who says on his commentator sheet that he started racing either 1997 or 1999. He can't remember which, but definitely wasn't 1998.
Okay, that clearly makes sense to him. There must have had other commitments during the year of 1998, but it's fascinating you can't pin it down between 3 years. Anyway, there'll be a story there, I'm sure. The MK Indy may be coming fighting back again with Colin Chapman just ahead. So this is the dice for 6th position. David Watson's Invitational Class car.
As the checkered flag goes out, it's a little bit early. And it's gone to Richard Webb, therefore, who does a 1:04.97 on the final lap. So he takes the victory by 1.38 seconds from Paul Smith in 2nd position. Ryan Yarrow takes 3rd. Dan Clue's getting across the line now. There you can see him in number 8 in 4th position. 5th place is going to get the way of number 2, Michael Roots. And 6th, it is going to be Colin Chapman, number 63, that holds on there. Ahead of David Watson. Then it's Paul Rogers and Richard Miles 8th and 9th, and I think then Phil Hutchins, yes it is Phil Hutchins in the 21 Mattel, rounding out the top 10, but the checker flag just catching us a little bit off guard there. It was about 1.86 seconds early according to the timekeepers, but we'll let them off that in the circumstance, I think.
Yeah.
That sort of slightly early appearance of the checkered flag.
I thought there was longer on the clock than that, about 45 seconds.
Well, yeah, we'll go by what the official timekeepers are telling us, and they say there was a little bit under 15 minutes elapsed in that race. I don't think it was going to probably change the sort of order in the top 3 or 4 places, if I'm honest with you. Nevertheless, despite the sort of mid-race safety car, we had some good entertainment in that race, and it's always impressive watching these cars, in any conditions, any circuit. Let's just have a quick look at those results then. Richard Webb it was that took the win in number 88 from number 14, Paul Smith in 2nd place, 1.38 seconds behind the winner. 3rd place went the way of number 1, that was Ryan Yarrow. In 4th place, number 8, Dan Clues. Michael Roots was 5th after that disastrous start to the race. That's car number 2. 6th to number 63, Colin Chapman. Then it was the Invitation Class car number 85, David Watson. That was pretty rapid. 8th to number 43, Paul Rogers. 9th from the back of the grid, number 24, Rich Miles. Running out the top 10 was 21, Phil Hutchins. Further back, Ian Hutchinson and Daniel Ashby were the only other finishers, I think, 9th and in 9 and 33. Carl Austin was in the pits, Jonathan McGill was in the tyres, and the safety car was shown 15th on the timing screen there, but it only did about 3 laps. So that's the end of the RLM Sports 1000 Championship race. 2 more races for them tomorrow. They have their first after lunch at 1:25, and they have their second and final race of the weekend at 5 o'clock. So that's Sports 1000. Just the one more race to go this afternoon. That's for the K-Tech Racing Clio Sport Championship. 2 different shapes of Clio now in that. Be interesting to see how they compare around the soggy 1.5 miles of Pembrey. Let's head down to the pit lane for the penultimate time today, and we'll hear from Josh Barrett with our winners.
So we're down here with our race winners from the RLM Racing Sports 1000 Championship, and it was Mr. RLM himself that took the win once again, Richard Webb. So let's interrupt Richard's conversation. Richard, well done on your another win. I'll give you a soggy garland. Well done. That race was a bit harder than some of the others.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the conditions out there were tricky to say the least. We're struggling with the front end a little bit on our car, and knowing that we had Paul right behind us. It was pretty nerve-wracking, so it was that balance between keep pushing enough to stay out front. Obviously when you're right at the front you've got the advantage, you haven't got the spray, so I think Paul was sort of hindered by that a little bit, but to bring home another win was absolutely brilliant.
And the car's obviously had development this year. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so we've just been working with the car all year again with Paul and the guys at Spire and Team Grey Motorsport, and again it's just been absolutely superb. You always want more. We'll just see what we can do again tomorrow.
Well done on the win. 2nd place for Paul Smith. Paul, that was good, wasn't it, being right up there with Richard?
Yeah, it makes a change to give him a bit of a run for his money. But I think we was actually quicker than him, but you just could not see anything at all. But yeah, no, it was good. Good race.
It was a lot better than perhaps we were expecting an hour or so ago. So did you have to do some set changes just for the race?
Yeah, so we changed. Well, we're always changing things, you know what we're like. So made some changes. Seemed to be positive, obviously, because we're a bit more nearer the front. But it's just carry on for tomorrow.
The front-wheel drive cars here, saying in the wet here, it's pretty grippy. Is that a bit of a different case for you guys?
No, I'd say. I think our lap times in the wet are not, horrendously miles off the dry. So if you get the car set up right, it's pretty good to drive in the rain.
Is that sort of something you've got to adjust your brain to perhaps at the beginning of the day when you maybe weren't expecting that?
No, you just follow a rain camera and just go as fast as he can go, and then hope you stay on the track. So.
Well done on second and good luck for tomorrow. And then in third place was Ryan. Ryan, a good start to that one. You almost got Richard at the start there.
Yeah, I got a good start and then just bogged it out of that corner. And obviously we all wanted to lead, and I did a good job at the first bit. And then, yeah, as soon as I was kind of following someone, I just couldn't see where I was going, and I bottled it, to be honest. The car was brilliant. It's me that's the problem. And yeah, it was bad enough following one, and then Paul came past, and basically I just had to completely back off because I just could not see where I was going at all following two cars. So to be honest, I'm glad that I'm just hearing the cars in one piece.
And hopefully tomorrow will be dry and then it will be a little bit different.
Yeah. To be honest, I like the wet, but it's one thing. Yeah, it's one thing driving around on your own and it's fun. But then that was just, I just couldn't wait for that to end. To be honest.
Well done getting home in third place. So that completes our top three from the Sports 1000s. Up next, we have our final race of the day, which is for the K-Tech Racing Clear Sport Championship.